Welcome to the channel, friends. So today I'm going to do a quick video on the Corvette. I will be draining, extracting as much of the clutch fluid I can through the top down on the master clutch master cylinder. Through the reservoir, I will not be going through the actual bleeder on the top of the bell housing. That's extremely hard to get to, and typically most people do not go that route because you can't get to it. Unless you have a remote bleeder and you've done a clutch job, an upgraded clutch on the vehicle, you will not have a remote bleeder accessible, I should say. So for the most of the people out there, the common folk, we're going to be doing the Ranger method. Now, the Ranger method is a very simple method where you basically drain the reservoir with a syringe type instrument or type tool and pretty much get all that blackened fluid out of the reservoir itself. Now, you can't get any further down than that, but what I'm going to show you is actually the improved Ranger method, and where I learned this from is actually from Martin Hearn. Let's call him HERN DaWg. That's what his name is on the streets. He's someone on IG that I've got familiar with, and this is where I first saw this process. So I'm going to name this the HERN DaWg Method. But essentially, it's the improved Ranger method. So what we have here is some brand new Motul 660 super high quality brake fluid. We have a big syringe with metal tip. And also, this is what I'm talking about here, which is going to improve the extraction. It's this really tiny, tiny silicone hose that I'm going to be putting on the end of this to get down into that little hole at the bottom of the reservoir and extract everything pretty much up to the clutch master cylinder itself. Now, this will get a little bit further and a little bit more of that fluid. That way it can be replaced with fresh fluid. And we're going to go through the process of basically the Ranger method, which is draining, filling, and then when you fill it with clean fluid, you go ahead and operate your clutch a whole bunch of times, like 20, 30 times, or whatever the hell you want to do. Then come back in here and drain that one more time, fill it back up one more time, and go ahead and do the same process. Operate your clutch 20 to 30 times by fully depressing the pedal each and every time. Now, you can do this as many times as you want. You can do it once, you can do it twice, 3 times, whatever you're comfortable with, until you start seeing the fluid not changing color in your reservoir. That's pretty much the telltale point where you can say, okay, I can stop now. So, on this car, I want to go over really quick. I do not have a remote bleeder, and I did upgrade the clutch master cylinder itself with a new one, the upgraded part number from GM. So you really can't tell because I actually put back the old reservoir, which is that translucent like color where you can actually see the fluid level and the color of the fluid. Now, I did that on purpose because I want to be able to tell how dark that fluid is getting over time. Now, the one that GM gives you is black, which is, it's not going to do nothing for you. You can't even tell what color the fluid is because you're going to look at the fluid and it's going to look black until you actually extract it out. So I did not like the black reservoir. I put back the original kind of translucent one. That way I can kind of gauge when I need to start draining my fluid again. But eventually this car is going to get an actual monster triple clutch, and I will be getting the remote bleeder when I do that job and that whole modification. That way the whole process will be much easier to do this. But for right now, I'm stuck with the HERN DaWg method. So let me get it all set up and I'll show you guys what it looks like and how the process is. The fluid's naturally not too bad. I drained this not too long ago, before the end of the season last year. So it doesn't look too bad. I've seen much darker than this before, when I had my previous clutch master, the one that was worn out. And what would happen is when you went to go and shift, the clutch actually would stick to the bottom of the floor because I guess the seal or the plunger in the master cylinder would get stuck because it's not lubricated properly, because that seal itself would break down over time because of the heat. So on my new clutch master, I actually did a video and I showed where I heat wrapped the whole thing. So all the way down to the slave, and everything coming right up to this reservoir is heat wrapped. So the heat is kind of not allowing to heat up the fluid as much, and that helps the fluid last a lot longer. And not to mention, it probably helps the seal not get as hot as well. So I'm just going to keep on extracting this as much as I can. Whoops. But honestly, it's not even that bad. It used to be much darker. So now we can go ahead and install the long silicone tube on the end of this, which is going to help get right down up to the clutch master cylinder itself, the plunger. So it's going to extract as much as it can right to the source. It can't get all the way to the slave because the clutch master plunger and cylinder is in the way. But this is the best method without taking a whole bunch of stuff apart. So I'm going to insert it into the hole at the very bottom of the reservoir and kind of feed it through my fingers just like that. I'll stop and show you guys a close-up. So that right there is the setup. As you can see, we got the syringe with the hose going down into the bottom of the reservoir, feeding back down into the hose that goes to the master cylinder. So I'm going to continue and extract the fluid. As you can see, we got a little extra fluid from basically the hose that goes down to the clutch master. And we're just going to drain that carefully. I'm going to put this in there one more time just to see if I can get anything else, but I doubt it. Alright, so that's it. It doesn't want to extract anymore. Just use a rag or something and get all the remaining fluid that's in there. If you're really kind of anal about it, just let it absorb. That way you have a fresh, clean, empty reservoir. Now, when you fill this, you're going to want to fill it very carefully. You want to basically fill it from the bottom, the hose, up, because we basically drained all the fluid out of the hose. So you can either do that by filling it up in here and inserting some down into the actual tube, which I will do and show you right now. So I'm just going to insert that metal tip and start filling the hose below the reservoir. So now I'm just going to go ahead and fill the rest of the reservoir to the full mark. I'm only going to fill it halfway because I don't want to waste too much of this expensive fluid. But that's up to you. You can fill it to the full mark. I'm just going to go halfway between the full and low. The min and max, I should say. So let me go ahead now. Remember to put on your cap. Because when you operate the clutch pedal, it's going to shoot fluid up in the air if you don't. So that's very important. Don't forget to put your cap back on. So now I'm going to go ahead into the vehicle and operate that clutch pedal like 30 times. I'm not going to go ahead and show you that, but you can picture that, me doing that. And then we're going to check what the fluid looks like after that. All right, so I went ahead and operated the pedal 50 times actually. And the fluid is a little bit darker than what it was brand new. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that step now. I'm going to drain this out, fill it back up with fresh fluid, and repeat the process until the fluid, after I do my cycling of the clutch pedal, is the same color as brand new fluid, which is pretty much almost clear. So as you can see, we still got like a little tannish color going on. And this is what we extracted. Let's get the better, here we go. As you can see, almost looks like motor oil. It's like a brownish, dark brown color. But I can tell you for sure, this right here is much lighter. You can actually almost see through it compared to my old Clutch Master cylinder, the original one on the car, that when it was going bad, it literally had black fluid. Super dark brown. So, you know, having your Clutch Master heat wrapped with this material right here, I use the same material as this. So all the tubing, heat wrapped the actual Clutch Master housing itself, and the slave hose tubing that goes down to the slave. So let me go ahead and finish this up, do 1 to 2 more cyclings of this, and I'll show you what the results are. Okay, just for reference, I went ahead and filled it again, and that's what the brand new fluid looks like. Still much different than what you just previously saw after 1 cycling. So that's what pretty much what I want to see when I'm done. I want to see just brand new fluid after 1 complete cycling 50 times or whatever of the pedal. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll get back to you guys. Okay guys, so I went ahead and cycled and drained 3 times, and now I'm happy with the color of the fluid. It does not turn dark anymore, and it still has that original brand new fresh fluid color. So now you just want to go ahead and top off, bring that to the just under the maximum mark, because fluid will expand with heat. So when your car heats up, it's going to expand a little bit. But anyways, filled it up to the desired level, and go ahead and clean your cap and put it back on. And this process is done. That should keep your health of your clutch in good shape. So you should have no issues with the pedal hitting the floor after a quick shift at high RPM. You only notice this usually at high RPM. That's when this clutch starts acting up. It's a common issue with the C6s, and it's not any different with this C6 ZR1, which is a 2012. But that was the process, you know, in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed the process because, like I said, it's the improved Ranger method, and I haven't seen anybody else do this besides HERN DaWg. So that's why I'm calling it the HERN DaWg method, because that's where I learned it from. So that truly gets the fluid as low as you can go from the top down, and like I was saying, that fluid in the hose closer to the master cylinder itself is the part that's contaminated the most, if you think about it, because what all that darkness is the actual seals in the hose itself breaking down from the heat from the engine. So keep your clutch in good shape, drain it often, and fill it back up with fresh fluid, and hopefully this HERN DaWg method will take you to greater heights. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any other questions or comments, please go ahead and place them right down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please go ahead and do so. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.